So that's pretty heavy.
All right.
That's also one of the 1 minutes for Christmas.
I don't remember that.
No, it's a movie fact.
Oh, we didn't cover that. I thought you were saying we've already done that. Okay. Good. As long as I'm not dumb.
This year's Christmas theme is depressing.
Let's make Christmas but sad. What are you pointing at?
I'm not pointing at anything. I was just resting my arm like this.
That's a good rest. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
What? Whoa. That ready, huh? Okay, sorry.
Whoa.
Go ahead. Yeah, we're ready. Let's record.
Hey, man.
What's up?
Have you ever heard of Jake McNiece?
McNice?
Yeah. Well, or James McNice.
Oh.
He went by Jake.
Yeah, I never heard of Jake, but James I know.
Yeah. What about Jake McNasty?
Is that a joke or is this?
No, that's his name. That's his legal name.
Jake McNasty?
Yeah, Jake McNasty.
Okay.
Jake
McNasty sounds like the bad guy in. Remember when McDonald's made cartoons of Ronald McDonald and the gang?
Yeah,
and they had like a card, and he would fight Jake McNasty. Is what it seems like.
I remember that.
Do you remember any plots from that? For some reason, they were on like an Easter Island kind of situation.
I do remember the Easter Island. I remember they had I remember it started out live action, and then they would go down the slide. It would turn into a cartoon.
Oh,
remember that?
That's interesting. I don't. But
yeah, it was a weird. I don't know I guess it's got to be cheaper.
And at the bottom, there's Jake McNasty being like,
oh no, it's McNasty.
He was really scary as a kid, you know?
Yeah. But he grew up and he grew into his nasty.
What?
That does feel like something a corporation.
13.1 miles instead of 26.2. Could I still get a sticker on my car? Do you want me to shoot you so you can have a badge?
Maybe. I'm curious what it feels like. Find a chicken who had laid 6 eggs, and he was stoked about the egg.
I don't like you today.
I don't like you most days.
Things I learned last night. Who's Jake McNasty?
Jake McNasty, he is I don't know how to do a lot of times we'll have like a top level, like this is who he is, and then we tell the story.
Just tell the story then.
Okay, so he was born May 24th, 1919.
Okay.
And he lived in Maysville, Oklahoma. As a kid, he was your typical rough and tough Oklahoman. You know those.
You know those.
You know those rough and tough Oklahomans.
I do. I've seen the musical.
Oh yeah, like those. I haven't seen the musical, so I don't know if you're referencing.
Well, they're rough and tough.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
There's a whole number in there called "Roughin' and Toughin'."
We're rough and tough in Oklahoma. That's the line.
And you haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it. Wow. I just have this intuition for musical numbers.
Okay. It's a gift.
Yeah. A lot of people say that, and they say it's a shame that I'm not using it. But this guy used his gift of being a rough and tough Oklahomer.
Okay.
And so, is that what you call people from Oklahoma?
I think you got to write the first time Oklahoman.
I think Oklahoma is way cooler. Good morning, Oklahomers. It just feels great.
Homie.
Oklahomian.
You know they've got someone's got a line of. There is an entrepreneur who is 23 years old in Oklahoma who drives a 2014 BMW and he has a clothing line.
Yeah.
And all of it says is Oklahomies.
Oklahomie. Yeah. And he sells a course.
Yeah.
An online course. Yeah.
I bought it.
I know a lot about how. Yeah. So I started a business called Mizzomies.
Okay.
It doesn't flow as well. Ms. Homies. So he played football in high school, and then he also got a job, which I don't know if something you could still do in high school. I don't feel like this is something I've heard advertised or seen.
But high schoolers doing?
Yeah, but he got a high school job. Like most high schoolers now, like they're a cashier at Walmart or like they're like making sandwiches at Subway. Like those are like where most high schoolers go get jobs.
Okay.
He got a job.
A funeral home.
No, he got a job as CEO of a major corporation. No, firefighter. He got a firefighter job in high school. Like he was a part-time.
It depends on the size of the.
Really?
Yeah, you can volunteer at 18.
Well, it wasn't a volunteer. It was a job. And so he was like.
Living at the firehouse and
he would leave school.
It's what year is it? Freaking 1930.
I mean, I guess it is like it's early. So yeah, maybe back then. I don't know.
They let people do so much, but they let kids like work in factories and stuff.
Yeah, that is true.
That's why we think millennials are always like, oh, houses are so expensive, and it's like, yeah, dude. I mean, like
we're letting adults build them.
Well, no, back then, like the dad went to work and the kids went to work.
Yeah. I have a weird conspiracy theory.
You had a 4-income household.
Yeah.
You have a conspiracy theory? Let's hear it.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't tell it.
That's fine. Let's not hear it. So he was a firefighter.
Yeah, so he was a firefighter.
Is this the true story of the bald knobbers?
No.
Oh, dang.
So he was a firefighter.
That is something I want, though. Put that on the list.
Is that a real thing? I thought that was just a ride.
Yeah, I think it's a real thing.
I don't.
This is the last year that ride's open, by the way. We got to go.
They're closing it?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
They're going to put something else there.
I guess that makes sense. So he was...
it hasn't really been the same since that guy died on it.
Someone died on it?
Yeah, like a long time ago, though.
Okay.
Like before we were born. We've ridden on it many times.
So you're saying you knew it hadn't been the same?
I didn't know. I'm saying...
The locals say it hasn't been the same.
The locals say...
Is it like a little bit more crickety or something? Like,
no, they
is
hear
he still
him.
on the ride?
They hear him. Yeah, he's in there saying like... He's the voice. He's the fire in the hole guy. That's not part of the ride. Every worker in Silver City is like, what? When people come out, they're like, who's saying that?
They're like, we can't get that to stop. Yeah, that's scary. So Jake,
yeah,
he's doing the firefighter thing. He's in high school. He's, shut up.
You just came back so excited. You're like, so Jake, he's doing the firefighter thing, right?
Okay. Anyways, he's doing the firefighter thing. He's in high school, and then something big happens. Something big for the whole world again. World War II.
He's in high school in 1940.
It's the end of it. I think he's like a young adult now. Hold on, let's do the math. If 39 is when the war started,
I'd be like 22.
Yeah, so young adult. And so the war hits. He's still holding down his firefighter job. And so because of that firefighter job, he's exempt from the draft. They're like, firefighters don't have to go. Cops, you got to go. Firefighters.
Oh, really? They sent cops?
I don't know that.
Oh, okay.
But firefighters were exempt. I'm sure all first responders were exempt.
Yeah.
And so he was exempt from the draft, so he didn't have to go. But unfortunately for him, he also was a hothead. And so he didn't
He's
follow.
Just so mad at all those fires, dude. He's showing like, I'm so gosh darn ticked, and this house is on fire.
No more fires in my town.
And it would be really bad because someone's standing outside their, life, because especially back then,
burning in front of them.
Yeah, and he's like, "You freaking idiot! How can you let this happen? What are you stupid? You deserve this."
I'm so sick of these fires.
People are like, his bedside manner is not great.
It's not great.
Yeah.
It's not great. He was constantly getting in fights and
like fist fights.
Yeah, fist fights, and he was just
with who?
He was a troublemaker.
Just people?
Anyone. He was a troublemaker. People would see him coming and they'd be like, "Watch out! Here comes the trouble man."
So you're saying people would see him coming and they're like, "Oh, we got trouble here in River City."
Yeah, right.
We got trouble that starts with T, which rhymes with P, which stands for... I forgot his name.
Jake McNasty.
Jake McNasty.
Jake McNasty. Yep. So was that a reference to something, or did you just write that?
No, I just made it up.
I don't believe you. That was a reference to something.
No, I just made it up.
Was that from Oklahoma?
No, I was just singing.
Was that from Oklahoma?
It's just that Broadway I got in me, I got that Broadway in me, Sometimes that stuff just comes to me,
Oh, okay.
It's like, I'll be sitting there and it's like the music of the night. It just... It just comes to me.
I don't think that's what that phrase means.
Okay.
So he was constantly getting in fights and disagreements and stuff. Stop your face. He was constantly getting in fights with people.
Sorry, I know show tunes.
Okay, whatever. So he gets in a fight he gets in a bar fight. Kicks the tar out of this guy. Is facing charges.
It's a hard knock life.
Finds out.
Do you know that one?
I do know that
one. I hate that the only musical you know is freaking Annie, dude.
I don't know it. How do you not know that line? Okay. So,
all right.
So
I'm done.
He hears through the grapevine. Sees it on a TikTok.
People don't like him.
Sees one of those people on TikTok who tell you what the cops are allowed to do when they pull you over. He sees one of those, and they say, if you're a soldier, you can't go to jail. And so he goes and he enlists in the military because he's like, I don't want to go to jail for kicking the tar out of that guy at that bar fight last night.
And like, you would rather go to the front lines? He's like, beach jail.
Oh yeah, I just don't want to go to jail. And so he goes and he enlists and he goes to basic training, and training goes really well for him. And by really well, I mean really bad. He has a problem with authority. And so he tries to skip like most of their like routines that they have, where it's like the morning roll call and like saluting the flag or saluting anyone or calling people by their title. And the reason he cites for not having to do that was he was half Choctaw Indian. And he's like, so because I'm in the tribe, I don't have to do that. And they're like, no, that's not how that works. And so then, so it starts out really rocky. He has a rocky relationship with everyone else in the camp. And then he also, he's at lunch one day and he's in the lunchroom and he asks one of the officers.
How is McNasty spelled? I'm not past it.
McNasty. Exactly how
it's spelled.
Yeah.
He's in the cafeteria.
He's in the cafeteria, asks an officer for his butter so he can put it on his bread. And the officer was like,
can I get your butter?
Yeah, he's like, no, it's my butter. And so he punches him in the face. And so obviously you get in trouble for that. That's behavior that doesn't go on. It's like, what? I'm the trouble man.
He punched him over some butter?
Yeah, I punched him for some butter. He's like, you can't give me that butter. And he's like, no. And he's like, you're going to get a fist to your face. So he's a trouble man, right? He's not a good guy. That's the point I'm trying to illustrate. But he was exactly the kind of guy that the military wanted, because they're like, he sucks. But if we could get him
put on the front lines, they whisper him and they go, hey, that guy stole your butter.
That guy don't want you to have
that German butter. Guy over there.
Also,
no butter.
Also, he loves fire.
He loves fire.
He just loves fire.
Let me
butter, fire. And if you don't kill him, you're going to jail.
I'm going to kill him.
They were like, this is exactly the kind of guy we want. We want an unhinged person that we could put in ridiculous parts of the war.
Sure.
But he's tough to deal with. And so they start isolating him. And he continues to do things over and over and over again that put him in worse and worse situations until eventually they create a unit that is literally just him in like basic training. And they're like, you are this unit.
Go do whatever you want.
Well, it's not do whatever you want, but it's like you're by yourself. Like, we don't want you around anyone else, corrupting everyone else.
Okay.
Over time, they start sending all their bad people to be with him. And so it ends up becoming this group of 5 of them.
It's like juvie.
Yeah, kind of. But yeah.
There's a group of 5 of them? What are they, the Rat Pack? What is this?
Kind of. And so there's a group of 5 of them in basic training.
And so basic training, I just want to make sure I'm clear.
Yeah.
You show up to the camp, right? And there's a couple guys over there, the good old boys, you know? The guys are sitting over here and they're like slick. They're like Captain America looking, you know?
Yeah,
like,
real sharp.
Yeah. And then you got like the schlubs, people who are drafted. They've not run more than 2 blocks in their entire life.
They're really struggling.
And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared of war. And then it cuts over to these military guys, all in leather jackets. No one knows how they got them. They're all smoking cigarettes and they're just sitting there and they're all like,
Yeah, you walk by them and they're like, salute me, boy. And then you salute. And then they're like, you loser. I can't believe you did that.
Wow,
what a lame. You see that boy salute?
Yeah.
That's what I was supposed to do. This is the army, right? The army salutes.
The army? That's how he talks? What am I supposed to do?
I thought the army salutes. Well, it's your first day. They haven't made him tough yet. I'm just a boy.
Yeah, we know. Jeez. All right, let's go.
So one night, this group of ragtaggers, they go into town on leave, and they go to this bar. And while they're
I like the idea that they're just walking through the bar, slapping people's drinks out of their hands. We're soldiers.
We're in the army. We're tough. They toughed us up already.
But they've also got like they're in the army. They're like the tough guys, but they've also got like a little chant that they do. They go ARMY. You know,
army guys.
And they're like ARMY, and they're acting so tough. But they're like, I'm an army guy. Not afraid to die because I'm an army guy. And someone's like, what the heck are you doing? He's like, shut up.
Shut up. Did you hear what I said? You just spit. Unnecessarily. Not even spit.
Yeah. Nothing comes out.
I'm an army guy.
They'll CGI that in later. You're like, what? What are you talking about, dude? He just thinks it's in a movie.
Movies aren't even out yet.
1940s, bro. So they go to the bar.
They're at the bar, and there's obviously this is near base.
Turns into a brawl.
There's a lot of soldiers there, right? So there's a couple soldiers that do something questionable that aren't a part of their group, right? And there happen to be some military policemen there. And so the military police, they like pull that guy aside. They're yelling at him, and like they're like getting ready to like beat him with their nightsticks, which is
okay.
40s. And so they're getting ready to beat this guy, and McNasty steps in and is like,
"No, take me instead."
No, he tells them, hey, don't mess with that guy. Like he tries to stick up for him. He's like, don't touch that guy. Like he didn't do anything.
And they're
wrong.
like, okay,
just let him go home.
So they beat McNasty up.
No, they're like, no, like he deserves it. We're gonna beat the tar out of him. And so he proceeds to take both these military police officers' nightsticks, beat the tar out of both of them, take both of their guns, and unload their guns on all the streetlights on the street, and just blows up all the street. And then he turns to them, hands the guns back to them, and says, "All right, you can take me in now."
Yeah, I'm probably gonna get arrested for this one. Can't outrun the law forever.
This is my moment.
I'm an army guy. ARMY.
And so they take him to military prison. And so he's in whatever, his cell. And while he's in there a couple of days, and then a commanding officer comes in and says, "McNasty," he's like, "We got something for you." And he's like, "What?" He's like, "There's this thing we're trying to do." He said, "We just found out that a group of Japanese soldiers just did a ruck march, 100 miles. We want to outdo them, and we think you give us one of the best shots of doing that. We're trying to do 143 miles. And so we want to enlist you in paratrooper training. And there's a base 143 miles from here that does paratrooper training. We're going to send you a group of you guys. There's going to be like 80 of you. We're going to ruck march you down there so we can beat the Japs and be like better than them." And he was like, yeah, he so confidently
was like,
is
sure.
like, "I can do that ruck march." He's like, "I won't even change my socks."
Yeah, no, dude, he sounds like he's not to be messed with, man. That's the most intimidating thing I've ever heard in my life.
I won't even change my socks.
I'm not even going to change my socks.
I mean, think about it, though. 143-mile walk.
The next time I'm in a fight, the first time I'm in a fight, next time I'm in a fight, I'm going to hold him. I'm going to say, hey, I'm not even going to change my socks.
You messed with the wrong guy. I haven't changed my socks for the last 143 miles. And then that leaves a lot of questions.
When you walk 143 miles in my socks,
then you can change it.
Then you could say that to me.
And he's like, and I won't even blister. That's what he said. He said, I won't even blister. And the commanding officer was like, sure.
Okay,
thing.
sure, whatever. Who cares? Cool. I quit listening half a second ago. When you said I'll do it, I didn't hear anything after it.
He's like, they'll let you out in a couple days.
Sure.
And you can get walking when they do.
And you'll know because they'll just open the door. No instructions, just go for it. It's 143 miles in some direction.
Yeah, just Yeah.
Let's see how tough you are.
Let's see how tough are you.
Figure it out.
Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Things I Learned Last Night. If you're enjoying this, let me recommend one of my favorites, Emperor Norton. It's this dude who just decided he was the Emperor of the United States. No one agreed, but some people did agree. It was weird. You should check it out. It was a lot of fun. But other than that, thanks for being here. And so a couple days go by, and they come and they shackle him up. And they walk him out to the starting line. And here's all the other soldiers that are like in their gear. And he's
not
still
shackled up. And he's like,
still wearing his prison uniform, shackled up. And then they unshackle him, they hand him a uniform, and he joins this march. And he's one of 8 people who finishes it. Makes it all the way there. Didn't change his socks.
What does the rest of people do? They fall over?
Yeah, I don't know, skipped the war.
You can do that?
I mean, no one was... It's not like they had...
Like when your friend skips a grade? Is that what you're talking about? They can skip the war? Yeah, oh, no, I did World War I, but I skipped World War II.
Yeah, you're too smart for this war.
Yeah, I went straight to the Korean War. Like, what?
Yeah, I don't think you need to do that one.
Okay.
So he...
took a test.
And he didn't change his socks, didn't get blistered. And a lot of people to this day are like shocked by that because it's a long... I mean, you would expect blisters, especially because with that you're carrying the pack, like you're carrying a lot of pounds, and so I'm at least pretty confident that he like drove half of that walk or something. Got an Uber. I think he cheated it. I'm pretty sure he cheated.
Okay.
I don't think he's above.
I think he walked on his hands.
So he cheated his way through the walk.
I think he skin crawled it. Yeah, it's pretty terrifying.
So he gets to paratrooper training, does the whole training, whatever, and they ship him off. And they're like, okay, he has a lot of other things. He gets in fights and stuff like that. You know, he's always getting in fights, doing the thing he does. By now, his little cadre has grown to 13 soldiers that are pretty much just the people everywhere else in the army where they're like,
it's him and 13 other people?
13, well, it's him and 12 other people. There's 13 of them total.
Interesting. Sounds like another cadre I know.
But it was everybody who everyone else in the war was like, we don't want to deal with you anymore. Go hang out with that McNasty guy.
Sounds like another cadre I know. You know, let me tell you about Matthew the tax collector. And McNasty said to him, "What's your name?" "Simon." "Shut up, Peter. I think..." Not even close, dude. Not even close.
Shut up, Peter. I said Simon. That doesn't say anything like that.
I don't know. He's been calling me Peter for years. I just kind of went with it
at this point. Yeah.
It's because it means rock. I'm the rock. Like, okay.
He told that guy.
Write that in your book.
He told that guy who couldn't walk to just pick up his mat and walk.
Yeah,
dude. Kind of aggressive.
And he did not do it. That guy is still laying there.
So McNasty goes to war with his group of 13.
Sure.
While they're there, they're breaking a lot of rules.
Yeah.
The biggest of them was there was rations. There's water rations that they had, so everyone could.
And they're just chugging away.
Look at all this water I'm drinking. WATER guy. I'm a water guy.
I'm a water guy.
Water guy. What can I say? You can't keep a boy from the water?
I'm a water guy. What can I say? H2O, I be drinking all day.
I like this picture we've illustrated of all the soldiers in World War II just saying about everything they did.
Oh, we're going to paratrooping. And so it's good times. We're teasing our new musical, World War II. Well, it's hard to say. World War Tunes. World War Tunes. Our new record coming out.
So the reason
they were going to release one 6 months later called The Holdouts. It's a little bit of a
bit of a callback. There you go.
Why'd you?
I did the same thing you did. You did that exact same thing. Play it back, Connor. He did the exact same thing I did.
I was saying The Holdouts was like a little bit of a jazz song, and you said, "Oh, it's a callback." But
yeah, and that's what you did.
I went ha,
and I went
da da tz, which is
it's the same thing.
Cheesy.
It's just as cheesy.
And mine was like
it's just as cheesy as your jazz roll.
Jazz.
Okay.
I don't like you today.
I don't like you most days.
We got a lot to get through. Keep going. I'll shut up.
So the water rations, they were using a lot of them because what the water rations were
Play it in the sprinklers.
You guys want to have a water gun fight?
D-E-R.
Guys, we're putting on a car wash. We're going to raise money for the army.
Come on down to front line 3. Get those buggies washed.
He opened up his own fire station in Paris, and that uses a lot of water.
Tanks are $10. All right, I'm not gonna wash that tank.
Hey, you're one of the bad guys.
That's what they did. They were trying to lure him in. They were like, "What if we did a car wash? What if we tried to lure in the bad guys?
Come to get their wash.
Oh, dude.
And we blow them up.
And we get them, man. We just got to all take our shirts off. Hold up little signs. Say car wash. Write it in German. What's car wash in German?
Car wash again.
It's car wash, dude.
Car wash.
Car wash. This is bad, dude.
So what the water rations were supposed to be for?
What were they using it for?
What they were supposed to be for was obviously drinking water and bathing. They didn't do either of those things with it. Instead, they were leaving camp in the middle of the night and they were going hunting and they were getting whatever they caught hunting. Large game, small game, medium game.
Sure.
And they were bringing it back and they were using their water rations to clean their game and cook their game with it, which was totally against the rules.
Sure.
They had army food that they were supposed to be eating. Also,
army food.
Also, on top of that, they're in France, and there was a pretty strict rule in this country that I don't know a nice way to say this, but all the animals were the king's animals, and if you're going to hunt them, you have to have permission of the king, and they did not have permission of the king, and so the king fined the United States military $10,000 for killing all of his animals, which at the day was probably worth more than $10,000 now.
Probably.
And so they got in big trouble because not only were they using too many water rations, but they were eating the king's meat. And that was a problem for everything. And so...
Oh, it wasn't. It was his pets.
And they
ate all the king's horses.
I'm going to eat all your horses.
What?
Did he just
I said... I'm gonna eat all your horses, and I peed in your dog's food.
So they get this fine, and then on top of that, they weren't using their water rations for anything other than cooking and cleaning their meat. So they weren't bathing. They were so dirty.
So they're smelly.
Smelled so bad.
Okay. And so they're like, guys, the enemy can smell you.
Yeah, they can smell you guys coming from the top of the parachute.
Yeah.
The top of that moment where you shoot.
The plane flies over, they go,
I smell Americans.
That's where the stereotype comes from.
And so they earned themselves the nickname the Filthy 13. Because they were filthy, and no one wanted to be around them. And also, they kind of got isolated because of all the other fights and stuff, and just being annoying generally. They were the only ones who sang. Everyone was like, these singing guys again.
Come on with the show tunes. But then also, secretly, everyone's back, and they're like...
Everyone's back. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're singing it. Sign the right tune.
Frick, dude. Can't get it out of my head.
Get it out of my head. So finally, they're stationed in France and they get their first shoot call. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, sure.
It's time to shoot, boys. But parachute, not shoot. But you'll probably do some shooting after that once you land.
You're
gonna shoot and then shoot. Stop it with the singing, boys, and take it back.
I can't. I don't know what to do.
And so this is the night before D-Day.
Okay.
Their mission was to parachute behind enemy lines, and they're going to land at this specific bridge. And their goal was to hold that bridge down for the American forces to be able to cross that bridge.
Okay.
Or if you're not going to be able to hold that bridge down, blow it up. Yeah, yep. So that way they can't get their reinforcements in. One of the two, that's your goal. Here's the deal. They were part of a group where the majority of people are going to die. What they're doing is they're dropping behind enemy lines. So they know they're going into a really dangerous situation. And they're loading up the plane the night of the operation. And Jake McNasty takes his military issue razor and shaves his head into a mohawk. And everyone's like, what are you doing over there? And he at first justifies it and says, this is what my ancestors did, because he's part Choctaw. And he's like, this is what we did when we went into battle.
Sure.
Later in an interview, he said,
just thought it looked cool.
I don't know which one's more true. I'm going to be honest with you. I think I believe the original story more than the secondary story. The secondary story seems like he's messing with someone.
Okay.
But later in an interview, when he was asked about it, he said, I heard there was a lot of lice in France. And so I wanted to have the least amount of hair as possible.
But I left a little bit in the middle.
Just to tease him.
Just to be like, ooh.
What you gonna do,
look at this lice.
So he shaves his head into a mohawk. And one of the planes that they were taking into this operation had just recently been painted. So it had wet paint on it. And so he takes the white paint off the plane and starts painting like designs on his face. And everyone else in the group is like, oh, this is really cool.
This cool guy.
And so they start...
We're going to do that too.
They start all shaving their head and painting their faces. What they didn't realize was that there was like an army photographer there who was taking pictures of them doing this. And so this is a colorized photo, obviously.
Yeah, it's got color in it.
But this hit the papers back home a couple days later, and people lost their minds. These are the heroes of the war already, just for this one. Yeah, because they look cool. I mean, I'm not going to lie.
They look cool. Like, even to today's standards, they look cool. Now, they do look like and I'm going to say this strategically, local UFC fighters. You know, they don't know Dana White. They want to. You know, that's their life goal, is to know Dana White. Mm-hmm. And so, like, local UFC fighters who are like trying to work their way up to the ranks.
Yeah, that's very accurate. So they all paint their face like this. They get their mohawks. They load into the plane, and then they jump. And in the middle of the night, the jump does not go great. They get hit with some flak, and they have to jump early. And he lands 8 miles from their destination.
Why they freshly paint the plane? Okay.
That thing's more embarrassing than going to war with a bad paint job.
Bad paint job.
No, there was a reason for that. They put white stripes along the bottom to identify theirs for friendly anti-aircraft guns.
Got it.
To know, oh, that's ours.
Yeah, don't kill us.
Yeah, don't shoot us down.
But also, the enemy, you know us.
That's the one.
That's us.
We've never
kill
done
us.
that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, they painted big targets underneath so that the friendly fire would know not to shoot there.
They painted this big thing that said, musicals. We are not. These are music boys. These are not soldier boys.
Just music boys.
And they're down there like, I don't know if that's... Do we shoot it? I don't know what we do. If we hit it, do you think it'll sing? And so they got hit and they had to jump early. He lands about 8 miles from their target, that bridge. And so he starts...
hiking it.
Yeah, trying to find his way through that. And he gets in a couple altercations, nothing crazy. Ends up managing to find one other person from his company, the Filthy 13. But this guy has no weapon. He lost his weapon in the fall. And so he hands him a couple of his grenades, And he's like, I'm keeping my M1 Garand. And he's like, but you can have my grenades, and we're gonna go take this bridge. And somehow they pull it off. They get over to this bridge. They make it there. By the time they made it there, another paratrooping company managed to also, like, they came across this paratrooping company. And there was a commander there who's on a different mission. And the commander was like, well, I'm in charge of you now. I'm going to pull rank, and I need you to come help me run security on this thing. And so Jake is like, okay, yeah, can I have a couple of your men to come help me do that? And he's like, yeah, you can have these people come help you. And so they kind of split ways. He's going to run security. And
Jake was like, yeah, we're not doing any of that.
Exactly. he's like, our job's the bridge. And they're like, oh, but the commander said we need to go. But the commander said,
shut up, dude. Shut up.
And so, yeah, that's exactly what happens.
I'm a war hero. Look at my face.
Look at my hair.
Do you have plain paint on your face right now?
Yeah, it looks like you have, I don't know, no paint on your face.
Which one of us do you think is crazier? You want to find out?
You want to find out? Let me sing to you.
La, 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 la.
And so he takes this group of men, and they go and they successfully take this bridge. While they're holding this bridge down, the other commander's off doing his thing. He has no idea that this guy went AWOL. While they're holding down this bridge, there's about a dozen of them, right? While holding down this bridge, a group of German soldiers falling back from the main, the beach of Normandy, is falling back. There's 700 of them. They come up to the bridge, and the commander of that German army is like, "Hey, you should surrender."
He's like, "Hey, I got a gun, and I will shoot all of you." And they're like, "What? 700 of them versus 12?" Yeah, and they go, "Okay."
Yeah, and so he says, he's the German commander is like, "You should surrender. You're outmatched."
Oh, the German commander.
The German commander is like, "You should surrender. You're outmatched." And he's like, "I'm not going to do that." And Jake says, "Here's what I think." He says, "You're going away from the battle."
Wait, like, he's just talking to him?
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, hold on. Let's negotiate."
All right, let's talk this through.
No. Here's the thing. Listen, you put all these add-ons on. I don't want to pay for any of that. Okay, like I came here to get a Toyota Sienna. Okay, and you're like, "Oh, it's going to cost $3,000. We put this. We get this 3-year warranty on it. I don't want any of that.
I don't want the warranty."
Tell me what's the price I'm going to walk out of here with it? You know, it's a used car.
Yeah, he's haggling them. Pretty much. He says, "I see you're going this way. The battle's that way."
So that
tells me that the battle's not going well for you guys right now. And he said, so I'm pretty sure. He said, we give it a couple minutes, and he's like, we're going to have a whole group of my allies coming up this hill behind you, and then you're going to be pinned between the two of us. He said, that's option A. We can go with that option if you want. Option B, he said, you could surrender to us, and you guys are fine, and there's no problems, and all of you survive. We just take you as POWs, and everything's okay. And he said, option D, he said, or yeah, let's stick with D. Option D. He says, option D, he said, we got the high ground. And which they did. They had a high ground. They had a couple of military.
Was he yelling from a hill? We have the high ground.
They did have a high ground. There was this ravine that they were going to have to cross to get to them. And so he said, we already have machine gun like roosts set up here. And he said, so you can try to cross this ravine to get to us, but we got the high ground. We got our machine gun spots. And so even though there's only like a dozen of us and there's 700 of you, we really have the upper hand in this situation anyways. And the German guy was like, nah. And so he's like, we're going to just come up there and take you. And so they tried to cross the ravine. By the time they got to the other end of the ravine and were climbing up the hill, they had already mowed down almost all of them. And they took the leftover as POWs and only suffered one casualty in the affair. And so these dozen men took on
700 people,
700 Germans, and they won. And then the reinforcements showed up and they had succeeded in their goal.
What?
When only one of them.
And they were like, whoa, dude. That's crazy that you did that.
I'm so impressed by what you did here.
That's so crazy.
Like, it's like amazing.
You smell so bad, yeah, but that was cool.
Hey, you should go see that beach over there. You should take a dip.
Why don't you go in the ravine?
Yeah, you should dip in there. So,
how about you storm the beach?
Yeah, you should storm the beach and just lay in the water for a while. Like, just
a long time.
Like, as long as you can. Here's some soap for if you need it.
Hey, it's me again. Thanks for being here for this episode. If you like what we're doing, it does cost us money to do this. And so just think about that. That's it. I'm kidding. No, we have Patreon supporters, and it really helps us to make this show possible. Honestly, we're so grateful for everyone who listens to the show, but there's people who want to make more of it happen, and so they financially support the show, and you get a lot back for it. You get our private Discord where we chat every day. We're hanging out and just getting to bond and hang out. We also do live Zoom hangouts for our Patreon supporters. You get exclusive merch. It's a good time. There's a lot in it for you, and it's a lot in it for us because we get to know you better. You're not just a number in a stat board or whatever, but you're our friends and we appreciate you a lot. So consider doing that. If not, then you can listen to this dumb little ad because that's how we're going to get money from you. We're going to leech from you either way. We're going to get paid. We're in this for the cold hard cash, baby. Anyway, here's an ad.
How do they get it though? I realized I forgot to put a CTA in mine.
Oh, dang, you were doing gummit.
Yeah.
They can text TILLN to 66866.
Thanks, Jaron. So he successfully
That's crazy.
This giant group of soldiers. So he gets shipped back to base after this whole affair or whatever. And they're like, "Good job, you did good." And they said some stuff, and they're like, "We don't like you. Get out of here." But they ended up tracking down the majority of his group, and they reunited the Filthy 13-ish. It wasn't quite 13 anymore, but they still call them that. They went on a couple more jumps that were pretty successful, not as successful as that. There was one really notable moment where they dropped behind enemy lines and they were clearing this whole town in Holland. And in one of the houses, here I need to paint the whole picture. So as they would clean, their strategy for cleaning these houses is they would break a window, they would throw some grenades in, and then they would go into the house through the door. And then what they would do is they would crawl when they went in because the dust would kick up and it would be all up in the air and they couldn't see if they were standing. So if they were crawling, they could see where they were going and they could take out any hostiles that were still there after the grenades went off.
Sure.
And so they were crawling through all these houses as they were clearing this village in Holland. In one of the houses, Jake happened to find a chicken who had laid 6 eggs, and he was stoked about the eggs.
He's like, "Oh my God."
he's like, "I've been looking for eggs everywhere."
I killed that chicken though.
And so
fight the chicken with my hands.
And so he decided to take the eggs because he was like, "I need those eggs." And so he put them in his cargo pant pocket. And he's like, here's the problem though. If I'm carrying these eggs around in my cargo pant pocket,
and then he goes to clear another house, right? Breaks a window, throws 2 eggs, and he's like, "Oh, dang it!"
Imagine you're sitting in your house
and someone breaks a window, and then just 2 full eggs, and you're like, "What?" And then someone kicks in your door, and they're on the ground, and they're like, "Something feels different," and you're just sitting there in your chair, and you're like,
and then his cargo pants explode.
He's got no legs.
So he put them in his cargo pants, and because he didn't want to smash his eggs, he knew he's crawling through these houses, and so he's like, "I got him in my cargo pants. I'm going to smash those eggs if I crawl on them." So he crawls on one side to keep his eggs safe.
The rest of dozen eggs. He's like, "Oh, hey, I'm the medic. Are you injured?"
No, I'm just protecting my eggs.
just protecting my eggs. It's an instinctual thing I'm doing. I don't know. I saw him and I was sitting on him earlier trying to keep him warm. So
I gotta
just
save
let
these
me
eggs.
be.
Yeah, let me save these eggs. So
I love eggs, dude.
And it was a pretty successful campaign, but for him, it was super successful getting those eggs.
They're like, "Dude, Egg Boy is a weird guy, man."
E-G-G guy.
I thought for some reason you were about to say EA Sports. I was like, "What?"
EA Sports.
EA Sports.
We got eggs.
We got the eggs.
We got the eggs. Have I told that story on the podcast before?
What could that possibly mean? We got eggs. Have I told that story before? What are you talking about?
In high school, I had this dream. I had this dream where my school changed our mascot to the eggs, and they were like breakfast eggs. And they like painted on the center of the field just an egg. And we had this school chant that we would do at games, and we would be like, "Go eggs!" And it was the funniest thing in the world to me. So I got a bunch of these buttons, and I took printer paper and I taped them over around the button, and I wrote "Go eggs."
To campaign for, but you didn't explain any of this. You never told anybody. You just gave them out at school. Oh, we're the Lutheran eggs.
Go eggs. And it's still the best thing. The Washington football team should have become the Washington Eggs. That is the funniest team name in the world.
You never told me this story.
Washington, go Eggs. Can you imagine that?
I can't believe you have a wife.
Me neither. I told her that. And I'm surprised it didn't work out. There was a lot of double dates we went on where people were like, yeah, we don't want to double date with you guys again.
We don't really like that guy.
Yeah. If you could stop bringing him around stuff. I don't know, man. I just got good ideas. So he protected his eggs all through the campaign. And I don't know how the actual campaign went. I think it went well.
The student section is just like, get scrambled.
That's the sound of the scrambler.
Do you use a scrambler? What kind of rich person are you?
No, I just use a fork.
Yeah. I was like, what the heck are you talking about? Who's using a little whisk? Who's like, okay.
Anyways, so he goes on a couple of these campaigns that go well, continually getting in these major disagreements with commanding officers. Won't salute anyone, won't call them by their names.
Sure.
Just a real trouble to be around. Smells bad, all the stuff. And so eventually his commanding officers are like, you know what we're going to do? And he's like, what? And he's like, we're going to send you to this specific paratrooping squad. And this specific squad, they were called the Pathfinders. And what they did is they were the first people in an area, and they got dropped to find the path. And it was very weird. This actually ended up becoming the Church of Scientology.
Oh, wow.
You will find the path. No, they would drop them in. They would drop 8 of these guys.
Okay.
Behind enemy lines days before the operation, whatever operation they were going to do. And they would sneak around the enemy lines, and they would have these 2 devices. And so they would split into 2 groups. They'd have these 2 devices. And
so imagine you're one of the other 8. You paratroop in, right? And you're like kind of sneaking. You're like... And then you just hear... Ding, 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 ding. You're like, what is going on? And ding, 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 ding. And he's just over there.
Hey, you want some eggs? I found some eggs.
Keep your voice down. What are you doing right now?
We're literally in an
you
enemy
like them
base.
sunny side up or scrambled?
They left their eggs out. Well, I can't help myself. What kind of soldier leaves their eggs lying around like
Tossing
this?
eggs, dude.
So so they would split in these groups. There was 8 of them. They had these 2 devices that would send signals back to base to be like, here's where you're going to do your stuff, right?
Okay.
And they gave them 2 devices instead of 1 because
they were going to lose one.
Well, they were going to lose 1 device, and they sent 8 soldiers because they on average lost 7. And so they would send 8 because it was the most dangerous job you could have in the military. And this was a job that was you could only be a volunteer. That's how dangerous it was. They could not assign you on this job. You could only volunteer. And so they told this guy, they said, hey, we think you should volunteer for this. We think you'd be like, just like your gift set.
And they're like, you know what? I bet you couldn't do it without getting blisters. And he's like, what'd you say?
You think I could?
I said, I was just, maybe you could, but I don't know. It seems like it's a pretty blistery job.
It's so blistering. Everybody's done has gotten blisters.
He's like, I don't even need to change my socks.
I won't change my socks. Matter of fact, I won't even bathe. You don't do that normally, McNasty.
Yeah, he's like, well, but I'm just saying
I
reason.
I won't either. Like, I'm just saying I also, like, I know I normally, but
3 things about me. I don't bathe, I don't change my socks, and I don't got lice.
Explain that. Science. ARMY guy.
ARMY guy.
And so he's thinking about it, and he's like, they're actually legitimately trying to get rid of me now.
And they're trying to kill me.
He's like, they're trying to get rid of me. And he's thinking about it. He's thinking through this thing. This is 1943 at the point. And so he's like, this war's been going on for a long time. Chances are we're close to the end of it. Things have been going really well. And he's like, so
I got those 700 guys.
Yeah, I took out those 700 guys. I saved those eggs.
It's been a good time.
And he's like, the war's been going great. It's going on for a long time. It's got to be close to over. And he's like, if they send me to do pathfinding, I have to go to pathfinding school. They're going to send me off to that. He said, it's gonna be a long trip to get over there, and then I got to go through the whole school.
Maybe I can just wait out the time.
Yeah, he's like, maybe I can.
Maybe if I fail the tests on purpose.
Yeah. Then that I never have
in Pathfinder school, and they're like, dude, write your name. I don't know my name.
I don't know.
What do I write? He's like looking off the person next to him.
Is it this? And so he's sitting there thinking about it. He's like, maybe not. Like, I don't know how, like, what if not? Like, and he's going back and forth. And then he remembers that the town that pathfinding school is happening in is in England and is right next to a major university. And all the men are at war.
Oh.
And he says,
I'll
me go. That's legitimately why he did it. And so he goes to pathfinding school.
This is the 1940s. Ain't nobody else got a mohawk right now.
Yeah, he was very exotic, especially in England.
None of their dads want me to take them out.
They don't matter. All their dads are at war. And so he goes to pathfinding school. Lo and behold, the war didn't end before he finished. And he ends up having to go pathfind. And he is one of the pathfinders leading up to the Battle of the Bulge. And I don't know if you know a lot about that battle, but it's a very significant battle in World War II.
Yeah.
Long story short, the things he did allowed the 101st Airborne Division that was trapped to survive long enough for the reinforcements to arrive, which was reinforcements of 350,000 soldiers. Jeez. And it was pretty much the deciding moment in the European front. And it was his arrival and his pathfinding mission where he brought that device to show where the supply drops should drop that allowed the 101st to survive as long as they did.
Wow.
Because they lost contact with him. I think the number's ridiculous. I can't find it. I heard it in a podcast or something. I don't have it. I should write it down. Wrote it down. But over the course of a couple days.
I couldn't hear what you said. I don't know if we got to bleep that or not.
Over the course of... Oh, hey, I found it.
Freaking... Oh. Okay. It was 6 eggs. 6 eggs is how many he had. What was the number?
So in the first 24 hours, they called 247 supply drops. By the second day, they called another 160. And by the fourth day, they called another 269. So a ridiculous amount of supply drops to be able to hold over the 101st Airborne Division, which for a matter of a few days, like no one had heard from. And so they thought they were dead. So a ridiculous amount of supply drops.
Sure.
All thanks to him are what led to the victory in the Battle of the Bulge. So,
wow.
That was his fourth drop, which was a huge deal because most paratroopers
don't survive
in the world, only make it through 2. Yeah. And so he already was a record holder, and he ended up getting just a ridiculous amount of badges. Well, I was thinking about this today.
Yeah.
I think badges are such an interesting concept to me. I get like it's a morale
You're just
thing.
mad you don't have any. Don't do this. Don't devalue the sacrifice of our men and women in the military service because you're sitting here unbadged.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, Ken, what if
that's an MTV series, by the way, trademark. Unbadged.
What if we did like corporate badges?
What if
that does feel like something a corporation.
13.1 miles instead of 26.2? Could I still get a sticker on my car? What if I did 100 days in the Peloton? Can I get a free shirt?
That's the sound of a guy who hasn't been toughened up by the army yet.
What if
Corporate badges does sound like something a corporation would do, though.
Yeah.
Like, here's your badge for...
And it's awkward. It's embarrassing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why is it... Like,
because it's the military. It's things that matter. They're literally shaping history.
I don't know. I mean, other jobs matter. Why don't they get
when
badges?
you're hitting the sales quota, you don't deserve a Medal of Honor.
I mean, if you got shot in the process, then yeah, you should.
They give badges to like police officers and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want me to shoot you so you can have a badge?
Maybe. I'm curious what it feels like. I just don't think I've ever heard that bad.
Here's your badge.
Okay, so here's what he got. He got the Combat Infantryman badge, the Parachutist badge, the Pathfinder badge, Bronze Star Medal with a Combat V, Purple Heart twice, the American Campaign Medal, the European, African, Middle Eastern Campaign Medal, the World War II Victory Medal, the Army of Occupation Medal, the Legion of Honor, and 5 overseas service bars, and interestingly enough, this is the whole reason I did this whole list.
Sure.
The Good Conduct Medal. Which sounds like a miss. Sounds like he shouldn't have got that one.
It sounds like, I mean, after you do all the other stuff, they're like, hey,
let's give him a good conduct.
They did that one to be ironic. And they were like, isn't this funny?
This guy also got a good conduct.
And they did the whole thing all in one ceremony. And they're like, and the good conduct. And everyone was like, oh, and everyone there was like, ha, ha, ha. It's a joke. You know?
And Tommy, who doesn't have that many medals, was like, well, I couldn't get the good conduct badge. This guy smells so bad. That's how I imagine in the 40s. Did I do the 40s?
It's interesting that you chose a fake name that was so similar to yours. Tommy, and you're like, oh,
Tommy's an
Freudian slip.
Tommy's an angry 40s dude. Like from the 40s, Tommy, he's angry.
What else does Tommy feel?
Tommy doesn't understand why the rest of the world doesn't see things the way Tommy sees things. Tommy understands everything better than everybody else.
Tommy gets what's going on. Tommy doesn't understand why everyone else gets a badge and there's no corporate badge. Why does Tommy build 43 websites and no one says thank you?
Tommy wants a badge.
Tommy wants a badge.
Tommy sees through what the deep state is doing when everybody else knows. Dude. Tommy tries to tell him. Tommy knows that person right there isn't real, but nobody cares.
Tommy tried to go to this new Christian movie that's out and the theater was a little too warm. The Hollywood elite doesn't want me to watch it.
Nobody likes Tommy. They don't like us, so they kicked us out of this conference. And Tommy's sad. Tommy guy.
Sad. All right.
So here he is now. Well, this is him like 10 years ago. He died in 2013, but here he is like 10 years ago.
Is this colorized?
No, this is not. But yeah, he still does the hair. The paint never came off. It was a permanent marker.
Plain paint is on his face forever.
No, yeah, he became a celebrity in the early 2000s when he orated his story to someone and they wrote it down in a book, which I'm suspicious of sometimes when I hear that. Like he's got all the medals and stuff, so like surely like this stuff happened, but like did the fight happen? Did the eggs happen? Like
what if he made up only the egg part? What if he mowed down 700 Germans?
Like, this story's not interesting enough.
But he is ridden with guilt into his on his deathbed. He goes, hey, I gotta tell you something. Come here. I need you to know there's part of my memoir that I lied about.
Not true. It's not true.
What part's that? He goes,
the eggs. There's no eggs. There's no eggs.
You're like, his dying words were the eggs, but he's not actually dead. Oh, you're still here?
You're still here.
Yeah, I lied about the eggs. You can go now.
You can leave. The eggs.
The eggs. That's how he ended his book.
That's what he wants to end the eggs.
And that's how the war happened. The eggs.
It was a typo. I like the picture.
But he orated it.
The
What do you mean it's a typo?
And the orator stood there and was like,
okay. The eggs.
That's a weird way to end it.
All right.
I like the picture of him on launch day, and he's like laying down in bed and next to his wife, and she's already there reading her magazine, and he's laying down and getting under the covers. He's like, "You think they'll know?"
She goes, "Honey, they'll know." she's so mad about it. She's so over the eggs lie, dude.
So mad.
She's known about the eggs lie for years. All right. He tells the eggs lie at every dinner party we go to. And he brings it up and she gives him a knowing look that's like, come on, honey.
Yeah, she makes eggs.
I know the eggs weren't there. And he honestly, it was 1,400 German soldiers. He keeps downplaying
the soldiers.
He's downplaying the German soldiers part.
Made up 6 eggs every day ever since they launched the book. Every day she makes 6 eggs and she calls them in there. They're sunny side up, and she's like, you see the eggs? And he's like, yeah. And then she drinks the 6 sunny side up eggs like they're orange juice right in front of him, and says the eggs aren't real. You're nasty. Take a shower.
All right.
Tommy doesn't like it.
Okay.
Anyways, that's the story of Jake McNasty.
It gets so weird at the
weirdest
end.
persons.
Oh, wow. So you're saying that's the eggs of the episode?
That's the eggs.
All right. The eggs.
Hey, thanks for watching this episode. If you liked it, here's another one you can check out. And then down here is a bunch of other episodes you can watch. So make sure you click on that to watch forever. And then you can subscribe if you haven't done that already. It makes sure you don't miss an episode. Like this video, leave a comment, leave a review wherever you're watching. And then subscribe or follow on whatever social media platform you prefer. We will be there.